as a great philosopher once said, Drake is the whitest of white men in this battle and in this response. Drake is the Karen of all Karens in this engagement. What I'm specifically talking about is the fact that 24 hours after withdrawing his lawsuit against Universal Music Group and Spotify, etc., et al., Drake is back in the courts. His team filed a lawsuit for defamation and harassment against Universal Music Group, saying that Kendrick Lamar in the song Not Like Us was engaged in defamation, and that Universal played a role in enhancing that through promoting it, etc., that created an environment where Drake was being falsely accused of being a pedophile, and where people were encouraged to engage in acts of vigilante justice against him. That's right. We still talking about the same song, Not Like Us. For us, it was a battle rap. For Drake, it was an opportunity. I want to talk about this, but there's people who know much more about this than me, so I'm bringing on the best in the business, the absolute best in the business, Naima Cochrane. First of all, it's good to see you. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year, Mark.
Help me understand this. People been telling me, I get two kinds of people. People who say I'm right on the money with Drake, and people say I'm the worst person in the world and I don't understand Drake's pain. Help me make sense of this.
So here's the thing. I've been a label executive. I was a label executive for almost 2 decades. I've been part of an A-list artist management team. I don't understand it. I don't understand Drake's strategy. I don't understand his end game. I have no idea what he thinks this is going to accomplish other than make him look like a toddler throwing a tantrum. Like, it really feels like he's jumping up and down mad at Lucien because Lucien was paying attention to another artist, right? And some people have said this is a tactic because he wants to leave UMG and go to another label deal, which I don't really think this is the way to go about it either. But to your point, the whole point of this Not Like Us is not Kendrick. It was Kendrick personally attacking Drake, but it was Kendrick attacking Drake's character and how he moves within the culture, right? It wasn't him attacking his rhymes. It wasn't him attacking his swag. It was really just about like, dude, I don't like who you are and how you handle hip hop. So in response to that, Drake decides to get litigious. Like, he decides to call his attorneys. And also, every rapper and singer and songwriter should be mad at Drake right now because this lawsuit won't go anywhere. But let's just say Drake won a lawsuit for defamation based on song lyrics. Do you know the liability that would open every label, every songwriter, every publisher up to? Like, that. Everybody should be mad at Drake. Everybody should be mad at Drake right now because it's insane. It's ridiculous.
I'm thinking now about Dre Day.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, for you youngins out there, some of y'all watching wasn't born yet. That was 32. Oh my God, that was 32 years ago. But when Dre Day came out, I mean, they were. Snoop and Dre were literally calling people
all kinds of names and accusing them of all kinds of just. It was just rough. And yes.
He literally said, put down the candy and let the little boy go.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Easy E, Tim Dog, they all caught the chopper. And I'm not saying that's okay. I'm not saying that we should or I would actually say, like, let's not call people pedophiles, right? Let's not do that. But Drake, as you pointed out, says he's part of this culture. He's part of this tradition.
Right.
I've heard in interviews him talk about how important it was for him to get in battles and win battles to prove his hip hop bona fide. Do you think that was bullshit? Do you think he changed his mind, or do you think he just got sour, like he's just a sore loser?
I think he's a sore loser. I think his ego is out of control, and I don't know who's around him. Like we talked about Drake last year too, just kind of like where's his head at, where's his art at? But right now, I really want to know, where's your team at? Like, who's telling you this is okay, right? And the bigger thing that I think Drake hasn't considered is that the reason that Not Like Us had the legs it's had, the reason that people, will scream out A minor in a stadium or an arena 3-4 times in a row is because there was already smoke there, right? Like, Kendrick is not the first person to say any of these things. He just put them together to a mustard beat so that we could all rock. That's why it caught fire. It's not Kendrick's fault. And I don't think Drake has really taken the time to actually reflect on, like, oh, people really aren't rocking with me. They really, like, maybe I need to change some things. Instead, you're like doubling down on the corniness, right? So it's like, even the pedophile accusation, like, my dude, you had a whole interview years ago about how you and Millie Bobby Brown were texting back and forth when she was 13 years old. Like, these are stories. This is why, so, and right now your artwork for your Australian tour is your avatar when you're gambling, who is a little girl with blonde, what I'm saying? Like, it's just, my dude, like,
he's not reading the room.
Go talk to the lady, Drake. Go talk to, or the man, go talk to a professional, work this out, get a journal. You know what I'm saying? Like, go for some long walks, go to the beach, get up.
I think we need to do all that. Drake said, you said something interesting, which is use the word corny. You see it as corny. It sounds like I see it as corny. I know lots of people that do, but Drake seems to be like Donald Trump in the sense, I only mean it in one sense, in that he inspires very strong feelings.
Yes.
And has committed fans and committed enemies. And even though everybody I talk to don't like the way he's moving, there seems to be just as many people somewhere else that I don't be at that rocks with him.
To your point, somewhere else where we don't be at, they ain't us. Like, the people, not for nothing, the people who defend Drake just keep making the point that just keep making Kendrick's point to me.
Yeah.
To me, he still has a very loyal fan base, but it's not.
But that's what I'm wondering about. Like, if a lot of times artists change when the money dries up, when the stadiums are empty, when, the album sales aren't there anymore. But Drake's going to continue he's a huge artist, even at the end of this year, which is clearly his worst professional year ever, reputationally,
right,
and culture-wise. He's still at the top of the list. He's still right up there with everybody else.
Yeah.
So does Drake have the kind of market motivation to act different?
Unfortunately, in terms of just pure sales and money, no. But the thing about it is that Drake actually does seem very concerned about his perception amongst his peers, and again, amongst the culture, right? Like, you want to be champagne poppy, and you want to, you want to have an Aaliyah tattoo, and you want to wear all kinds of original pieces that were owned by different artists who have since passed on, who are so important to our canon. You care a little bit about what we think about you. So I think that for him, even though, like, he still has 19-year-old white boys, from Middle America who are riding for him, and like, DJ Academics and DJ Vlad and, other people, whatever. It is important to him that, like, his peers, he's losing the respect of his peers. His peers are not defending him, supporting him. That's going to start to affect his output, because who are you collaborating with? Like, collaborations are his bread and butter. What does that look like in terms of who you're on the road with? Like, it's going to start to have an impact. It doesn't yet, but there's only so much time. Like, relationships and collaborations are the core of artistry. And if you don't have that, you can't move but so far forward.
So I don't want to psychoanalyze Drake too much, but I got to a little bit. Mm-hmm. He's losing the respect of his peers. Does that make it easier for him to construct this narrative like he does in Fighting Irish Freestyle, where he can just say, I don't fuck with none of y'all. Y'all all disloyal. So he can now, he doesn't have to wrestle with their criticism because he's already dismissed them as fake and cowards and disloyal. And yeah, I mean, it seems like, am I overthinking this? Or
no, he can say it. Everybody knows, like, it's like saying you didn't break up with me, I broke up with you. He can say it. We all know what happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the thing. Right. You can say whatever, Drake. We were all there. Everybody was there. Like, right. Everybody was there. Consumer brands were there. Libraries were there. Like, Duolingo was there. Everybody was there. Like, we all saw it. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, we all saw it happen. We all participated. We all saw it. Amazon was there. You know what I'm saying? Like you can say whatever you want to. The NFL was there. Like and is about to be there again. There's also a theory that he's trying to get Kendrick, or either Kendrick to pull Not Like Us from his NFL playlist set list, or get the NFL to block Kendrick from performing Not Like Us from his set list because of the legal drama around it.
That's what I'm assuming. That's literally my theory for since November when he filed the first suit was he wants to create enough messiness, enough dirt, enough smoke, enough confusion, enough fear that the executives say, you know what, it ain't worth it. Do all right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Do all your songs, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But what you're not gonna do is Not Like Us. You can do the whole new album, whatever, do your thing, right? But we don't want to hear that. I had thought that we weren't going to hear the whole song anyway. I thought we would just hear like a musical interlude.
Yeah, it's not a halftime show friendly song.
No, not for the Super Bowl.
Like, you know, yeah.
So, like the Super Bowl is extra. I mean, after Janet Jackson, they were Brad before Janet Jackson, but after Justin Timberlake did awful, treatment of Janet Jackson, the FCC is extra on top of the executives. It's a family friendly show, and they want to make sure of it. So I can't imagine a stadium full of people going wop 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 wop. Right. But and the other problem is you could say, well, he could do a clean version, or he could do just the third verse, or he could. But the problem is, this song is like, it's like the Macarena. Like everybody knows every word. He ain't gotta say it.
Right. Exactly. That's the thing. He could just do dun dun dun, and the crowd would just rock. It's the song is so much. The other thing is, if Drake would just shut up, like for 30 business days, right? First of all, if he could just sit down and be still for just like a minute. The song is so much bigger than him at this point. The song is about anybody who's your op. Anybody who is a hater, who you don't rock with, who you're looking at sideways. It's so much bigger than him. He keeps inserting himself back into it, right? And
that whole third verse. I mean, it's tough when you got the whole third verse about him.
I know you got the third verse, and that part is about it. But the thing is, it became anthemic beyond the beat.
Fair.
And
that's true. Like Dre Day. Like I don't think about Dre Day as a Tim Dog, Easy E this and
right. It's just you firing off at anybody who you really don't.
That's real.
Sucker, right? Who think is a Mark Buster. But like, so for this though, Kendrick is also very savvy. He knows what he's like. The man, actually second to Drake, had the highest selling hip hop tour of all time last year. So it's not like he doesn't know what to do on a stage. So I mean, again, the ploys to me, though, are so transparent. Even if they work, nobody's going to give him credit for it because it feels like bish assness. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I can say that, but I said it. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it feels very whack. It feels very whack. And it feels very like it's not hip hop. Like, this is so not hip hop. None of this is hip hop. And like, Call Your Lawyer ain't hip hop. So again, I think that Drake has lost some face value here, and I don't know how he regains it, regardless of what Kendrick performs, regardless of what UMG does. And I love that UMG's response to everything he does is basically like, what? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's basically like,
right,
you can't be serious. Like, all their responses are basically like, you can't be serious right now. So I don't know where this goes. I've never seen anything like this. I'll say that first of all. I've never seen anyone so committed to just losing face value. And like you said, he'll still make money. He'll still have fans. But like, do you love, but then it's like, do you love the money or do you love the art? So like, if you really love the art, you're hurting right now, regardless of what your income looks like. But I don't know where Drake's heart is in this. And that is the whole crux of the conversation.
So one more question for you. How does this end in terms of the label relationship? I know, I mean, he wanted 600 million, 700 million, got 400 last time.
Yeah.
This can't be helping him make, I mean, it seems like this just makes him less marketable.
It's not helping. And not only is it not helping, it's giving UMG the chance to come to the table and say that his brand is damaged. Right.
Right.
And also Kendrick is a Kendrick doesn't have the same level of output that Drake does and has had. Not that I think that Drake could sustain that level of output moving forward anyway, but Kendrick is also like a very big UMG property, right? So it's not like Drake is really trying to force them to choose, it feels like, and that would be really silly for any label, any major label to do, especially publicly, especially when you're asking them to choose against the artist who is currently about to go on a major tour and headline the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't think he's doing himself any favors. I think he's hoping that this will actually, like, it's kind of like get under Lucian's skin. It's kind of like the kid who acts out so his father will pay attention. I feel like, though, he's actually just wearing people's patience. Labels don't love litigation. It's not fun for them. And especially coming from their own artist, I think they're just as quick to be like, you want to leave? Go. Like, be out. Bye. And it is I think Drake is overplaying his hand because he is one of the biggest, artists on Universal, right? But Universal has a board. They have shareholders. Like, they have other people they have to answer to. It's a publicly traded company. You can't play around like this with a publicly traded company. They will cut you out quickly. Yeah.
Easily. I had to laugh when I looked at the lawsuit, and Drake in the lawsuit accused Kendrick of anti-Semitism. Because
which is like, now it's about you being Jewish, fam. Nobody even said anything about that.
Right, because he called him a colonizer in verse 3. I mean, it's sort of ironic that his team associates that with colonizing. But I don't think Kendrick was thinking anything about his Jewishness. I don't think anybody's attacking his Jewishness. Again, it felt like he was just, I'm gonna throw everything against the wall.
He's reaching. Yeah. And I think also, like, not only is he reaching, but I think that listen, Drake has never downplayed his Jewish heritage. I believe he was bar mitzvahed, if I'm not mistaken. It's never been a question. It's not something that he's played up either, but he's never, denied it or hidden it or anything like that. However, when a Black American talks about colonizing, we are talking about white people. Period. Full stop.
Yeah, that's it. It's very obvious.
Especially when he's talking about somebody going to Georgia. We talking about white people. That's right. White people.
And he broke in the whole, he literally breaks down what he means and why. There was absolutely no way to read any other way.
All of it. I think that Drake is reaching for pain points and things that he feels like will sway the industry in his favor. I don't believe for a second that Drake actually believes there was anti-Semitism in that. I think he thinks that might get people on his side who maybe even haven't been paying attention, because that is a very, that word inspires reaction, right? Right now, especially. But it wasn't again, clearly in context, there's nothing about it that speaks to that. And none of this has even really been about the fact that Drake himself is biracial, or his mixed ethnicity or any of that. It is about his behavior, right? It is about the way he moves within Black culture, not so much his actual racial makeup.
Yeah, nobody cares about that.
Yeah.
There's plenty of biracial rappers. There's plenty
Cole is biracial, so it's like, it's not about that. And he's never said it's about that. It has been about his behavior. He has spelled it out quite plainly. And anybody who pretends, and also, like, it's not like white people aren't allowed in hip hop either. Like, so that's never been a question. But how
or Jewish rappers for that matter. I mean, if we think about, like, my man from Third Base, if we think about Lil Dicky, there's enough. You know what I mean? There's enough. Action Bronson. There's enough, right? So anyway, and I'm not even gonna get into the shines of the world. There's a way that hip hop's not even thinking about that.
Right. It's not about that. But it is about, like, you can be a Karen without being like a full out white person. You're moving like that. Like, that's how you're moving. And to your point, like you said in the very beginning, being like, I'm gonna call my lawyers, withdrawing one lawsuit and filing another one the very next day. It's some super white man behavior. Super white.
Right.
It's very much, do you know who my father is behavior. It's wait till I get done with you behavior. It's you're gonna regret this behavior. You know,
right. Yeah, it's
or two. Like it's that. You know what I mean?
it's
Like
all the stereotypes and of white people. Again, this isn't about Jewish people, it's about white people.
Like he might as well have on some chinos and some dock shoes, and you know what I'm saying, like a polo with some little whales on it. Like it's very like he's very Chad. You know what I'm saying? Like it's very that.
Yeah. And that to me is who he is at the core. That's who he is at his core.
Yeah.
And it's sad. It's sad and it's frustrating. Anyway, we're gonna keep watching this. Who knows? Tomorrow he might withdraw and put out another lawsuit. Who knows? It's Drake.
It's a mess.
We'll have to wait and see.